Hi, I'm Randy Nelson. I'm the off-road technical trainer for Polaris Industries, and today I'm going to show you how to install this trailing arm guard kit on this Polaris RS1. Before we begin, we want to make sure we read these instructions and check to make sure all parts and tools are accounted for. We want to make sure we retain these instructions for future reference and parts ordering information. So in the kit, we're going to have 4 foam strips in the kit, 2 per side. These foam strips are just going to lay in the channel, so just remove the backing on them and then just adhere them to the guard. Location's not really critical, just putting them into the bottom, one there and one there, before installing it on the bottom of the trailing arm itself. I'm going to go ahead and install the guard onto the trailing arm. So it's pretty simple here. We just kind of have to spread the guard apart. And there's going to be one part of the guard on one side and one part of the guard on the other side of the trailing arm. We'll just work that into position from the front first and then work it back. And just tap it up onto the trailing arm. And what we're going to do next is we're going to go to the back of the trailing arm and we're going to install one bolt first, because there is one hole in the guard and one hole in the trailing arm that have to line up before we install the bolts and the bushings on the top side here. So we'll go to the back. So we're going to install the rear trailing arm guard to the trailing arm itself. So in the kit you'll have an Allen bolt and you're going to have a washer and then a nylon lock nut. So the bolt and the washer are going to be on the bottom side. You might have to grab your 4mm Allen and just kind of thread it up through the plastic. We'll go ahead and install the nylon lock nut. Put that on there, and then we'll grab our 10mm wrench, and we'll go ahead and torque this down. We don't need to over torque this, we just need to snug it down, just making sure that the guard is flush with the bottom of the trailing arm. Otherwise, if we over torque it, we're going to start distorting the plastic of the guard. So we have 2 of these bushings we need to install first. And those are going to go on the top side of our trailer arm. So they're actually going to sit here between the 2 plastic ears on the guard. There's one in the front, one in the rear, and then the bolt's going to pass through there. What you'll notice is there's a little thicker portion to this bushing and then a thinner portion to this bushing. Now the center portion here, that's actually going to straddle our brake line on top of the trailing arm. So this does matter which way you orientate this. If you do it incorrectly, what's going to happen is you're going to pinch your brake line, and we don't want that to happen. So we're going to see how that goes in. That's not the correct way. As you can see, it's sitting on top of the brake line. So I'm going to flip it around, and then it's going to drop down, and the brake line is going to straddle in between that space on that bushing. Go ahead and pass that bolt through, and then we'll install our nylon lock nut on the back side, and then using a 10mm socket, we'll go ahead and torque these down. And that's good enough there. So once that's torqued down, we'll do the front one, and then we'll just repeat the process on the other side of the vehicle.